What's up, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty,
I'm Benjamin Walters.
I'm Will Clow.
and this is the voice of college football, Notre Dame. Now, gentlemen, before we get going, we have a very special announcement to make with a new sponsor that we have, and that sponsor is Ticketsmarter.com. So, save on your next trip to the big game with TicketSmarter. Get $10 off an order of $100 or more by using the promo code BIG, or get $20 off an order of $300 or more using the promo code BIG20. You can see those promo codes in the live chat. Use the promo code as much as you like. TicketSmarter gives you the most competitive prices on the secondary market, and your purchase is safe and guaranteed. Get in the game with Ticketsmarter.com and the Ticketsmarter mobile app. And remember the promo code BIG and BIG20. Think smarter, ticket smarter, baby. And also, as you guys can see in the live chat, and we will be having the banners up pretty soon, a couple new channels to the Voice of College Football, a Big 12 channel, as well as an SEC channel. So make sure you guys go and check those out as well. And assuming I'm not missing anything, gentlemen, let's get right into business.
Yep.
So Notre Dame comes away with a big win against NC State on the road. Of course, there was a lot of struggle because of the weather delay, and I'm sure that frustrated us fans just as much as it did the players. But Notre Dame comes off with a big win here, and I couldn't be any more happier as an Irish fan.
No. I mean, no. You win the game, and that's the bottom line, and you survive, and we survived. So,
but I got to tell both you guys something, and this is a habit that I have to remedy. I got to fix. Do not follow social media while the game is on, because you see and read so much stupid crap. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes reading what other people say. So sometimes, I just want to look through maybe a couple of people I trust. I try to check out what they're saying, but that's about it. It's not good for your mental health.
Sure. No, it's not good for the fan base. Not good for your mental health. Not good for anybody.
Nope.
So obviously in this one, Ben, I got to say you and I had a pretty good score prediction, somewhat close, but didn't exactly go the way we thought it would. But so let's just get the bad out of the way before we talk about the good, because you don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about the bad. Got off to a slow start.
Yeah.
Slow
start and penalties.
Yeah, and let me just say this about the penalties. There were a few of those that were very questionable.
Yes, on both sides. Yes, it was very bad. And I try not to talk bad about refs, but it was a very, very bad game.
At least it was consistently bad. I'd rather it be consistent than just wacky all around.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, slow start. I mean, it's a slow start, and people forget though. Here's something to put in your back pocket for this game. You have to go all the way back to 2019 to find a team that actually beat NC State in Raleigh. NC State doesn't lose at home. I mean, that's that's just a fact. So the fact that Notre Dame came out with the victory is something to brag about.
Oh, absolutely. And how fitting that we come back here in 2023, and again, it's a freaking monsoon.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, come on, really? This of all places, it had to again be a freaking storm and lightning and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, it wasn't only just a struggling start for us; it was a struggling start for NC State as well. They had, I think it took 7 or 8 minutes before there was a first down by either side.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very safe to say. And Ben, you and I were talking about this before we got started with the show. And I think a lot of us knew this coming in, that this was going to be Notre Dame's first big test of the season, because nothing against Navy, nothing against Tennessee State, but they're just not on the same level.
Yeah, no, the talent gap between Tennessee State, Navy, and NC State is, you know, night and day. And obviously, NC State would beat both of them and be 2-0 coming into this game if they played them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that definitely says a lot about NC State, now don't let the 24 points fool you. Our defense really came to play big time, but there's a reason why they only put up 24 points against UConn. So it says to me that they are definitely more of a defense-first team. Maybe that's not a fair assessment. I don't know. But I would say a good 14, maybe 17 points of their 24 points were off of our mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's definitely a team in transition. I mean, this was a Tim Beck-led offense for a long time. They just got in Robert and I. So I'm sure by the end of the year that Wolf Tech offense will be much better than what it is right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and to like piggyback off of your point, Sean, I mean, you have what, 9 or 10 or even 11 penalties on Notre Dame in this game? Yes. I mean, you're going to give your opponent some points when you're making those kinds of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's something to clean up. And that's something that we were talking about before the stream started was, you know, this is how it's going to go against an Ohio State, a Clemson, a Southern Cal. You're not going to have everything go right. You're going to be caught up in the moment. Mistakes are going to be made. How you capitalize on those mistakes, how you fix your issues, you know, is ultimately, you know, a difference between a loss and a win. So, you know, thankfully for Notre Dame, they righted that ship and that storm, no pun intended, and they got the victory. So, you know, a step in the right direction, because I tweeted this out on our side of things. We are starting to develop that killer / finisher mentality. And that is something that we did not have under the last regime. And I love it, because you're going to get to a point like we did today where you got to put your foot on their throat and you got to not let up. And we did. And we got it done.
Oh, absolutely. Once we found the momentum and once things started going our way, we didn't let up. I mean, now I'm not saying this happened all the time in the Kelly era, and I know there's a lot of people that don't like me mentioning Brian Kelly, but let's face it, whether you like him or hate him, he's a part of our history. You know, he's not the worst coach in the world. I mean, but there were a number of times under his regime where they would let off the gas and not put opponents away. And I don't care who you are. If you don't put your opponent away, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And thankfully, we didn't see that today. I mean, granted, that game was close for a while. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, you know, thankfully, once we got ahead, it didn't happen. And I don't know who just typed this, but good question. Whoever typed it, Ben, Will.
I typed it, yeah.
Who does the game ball go to for this one? Who do you think?
Just tough.
Well, you know what? I got a better idea. Before we answer that question, let's check out the numbers. Let's check out the individual numbers here, because there's a lot to go through here. So let's start with our quarterback, Sam Hartman. Despite the slow start, he finished with a phenomenal day. 15 of 24, 286 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
Yep.
Audric Estime in the running game, 14 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Jadarian Price followed that up with 7 carries and 31 yards. Jeremiah Love, who I think is going to be a star as his time progresses, 6 carries, 24 yards. Receiving, and this is the one that the three of us all agree that this is the one that we really wanted to talk about in this post-game show.
Mm-hmm.
Holden Stays, tight end, 4 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. But when you look at the defensive side of things, there's a lot of guys you could throw in there too. You know, you could throw in Benjamin Morrison, who had a key pick. Xavier Watts had 2.
Yeah.
DJ Brown had a really good game. Like I've been critical on him. Like I'm like, should we replace him with someone else? Like he had a really good game too.
Oh, and I stand corrected. I forgot to play before Xavier Watts made his pick. It was just a it was just a batted pass, but he had a nice little flip. So I guess I was getting that mixed up. But no, DJ Brown had a great game. Our whole secondary played phenomenal. But I don't know. I mean, when you break everything down, your quarterback could easily be the go-to guy, but I gotta
Stays, in my opinion.
I would say I gotta go with Holden Stays.
I mean, because you know what you have with Hartman, you know what you have with Estimate. Like, that's to be expected. 134 yards for Estimate, almost 300 yards for Hartman. Like, you expect that. But Stays, we didn't expect that. So, in my opinion, you get the game ball.
Yeah, he was getting the separation on the big plays when we really needed him. He came up big for us, really big. So, yeah, my game ball goes to Holden Stays.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the other big thing is we won the turnover battle. We had three takeaways ourselves. They had one with a Hartman fumble, so that's how you win games, man. You win games by winning the turnover battle and not making as many mistakes as the opponent. And thankfully, they made quite a few themselves. So.
And welcome to the show, our buddy Ryan, Week 0 Productions. Fravel, what's up, bud?
Not much, man. Dealing with Ohio State fans as always on Twitter.
Yeah, he actually said this, or I actually said this before you got here. That's something that myself personally, I need to stop. Is reading social media during a game, because you see some of the dumbest crap that
dude
you'll ever see.
The first 3 quarters, all Twitter was ND haters galore.
Yeah.
Taking a victory lap.
Indiana, so I don't even really want to start.
Taking a victory lap about, this Notre Dame team is, you guys are really that good. You guys are struggling with a bad NC State team.
I mean, it's not a bad NC State team. Like, Mark said they would probably have 9 wins. 9 and 3.
Well, my thing is, like, I think Notre Dame's talent level, like roster top to bottom, is probably a 28-point victory better than NC State right now. NC State's offense is in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, they had no business getting 24 points, but a lot of that had to do with dumb calls by the refs, penalties that I thought were very questionable. I think the one on Ben for the unsportsmanlike conduct, I thought that was kind of cheap.
Oh, that was weak.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback hit, the late hit that they called on us for touching him on the chest, like,
that was weak too.
The refs were trying to keep NC State in this game. But I mean, overall, I think that Notre Dame played a really solid team. Now, do I think NC State is like a top 20 team? No. There might be borderline top 25. But overall, I mean, I was impressed with the performance. I thought the offense definitely could have looked a lot better, though. We looked shaky at times. Hartman missed throws that he doesn't typically miss. Guys were dropping passes that we don't typically drop. Now that can also just be, playing on the road, a hostile environment, first true road game. With the weather delay, I don't like using that as an excuse because, especially from a team from South Bend, you can't really use the weather much as an excuse. But, yeah, I mean, overall, great win.
I mean, the difference is we wouldn't have a delay if it was snowing. We would just keep going, lightning top stuff. So I think there's a little bit involved in that because you lose all your momentum and your, drive. But yeah, no, I agree with you there.
But yeah, man. I mean, 3-0. We got Central Michigan next week. Should be another, fix what you need to fix. Because after that, you got Ohio State.
Yep.
Yeah, and even Central Michigan we can't overlook because we had a scare not too long ago against another MAC team, Toledo, and that took a last minute touchdown drive to win that one.
Mm-hmm.
And my point is like just to kind of put out there, and I put this out on Twitter for all the ND haters out there that want to say that we're going to get blown out by USC because we only had 17 points through most of the game against NC State. Think about it this way. Notre Dame played their C+, maybe at best their B- game today, and we still almost won by 28 points.
It's a good
That
point.
says something.
Yeah.
That says something.
Well, and overall, this, as we've said already a couple times, this game was our first true test of the season.
Yeah.
We played somebody that was on the level. I mean, no disrespect, Navy and Tennessee State are not on the level. So this was a good game for us to get a chance to really find out what what we need to do going forward, what kind of kinks that are still in the system that we need to fix and get rid of. And I think we got a good idea of that today.
Yeah, so I mean, going off of that, what are some things you guys think we can improve on? Because there are a lot of things I took away from this game that I'd like to see the team get better. The first thing is Hartman. You got to hold on to the football, man. 2 fumbles. He only lost one of them. I understand he was under a lot of pressure, but you got to do better. That was one thing that killed him at Wake Forest was the fumbles when he got sacked. You can't do that against Ohio State. You may be able to afford doing that against NC State because you have the talent to overcome that, but you just can't do that. And then secondly, what happened to the offensive line in this game?
It was just it was a slow start for sure, but I mean it wasn't great at the end, but they got it together. But it still wasn't.
Dude, we have 2 projected first round draft picks at both tackle spots, and it concerns me now. NC State's defense is probably top 10, top 15 defense in the country. I'll give them that. That defense is.
Oh, they brought the heat.
Yeah, but I mean. It's just for all the hype surrounding this offensive line, you would have thought from start to finish. Now, we started doing it in the second half, but from start to finish, we wouldn't have been pushed around like we were in the first half against NC State if the offensive line was as good as advertised.
I mean, this always happens in like the games against good defenses, though. Like even in the South Carolina game, we struggled a bit on O-line, so. In the bowl game, so I don't know. I'm just kind of used to the O-line, not all, like against good defenses, not always holding on.
I think maybe a part of that is because of the guard spot, because we do have like Pat Coogan. He's very inexperienced. Rocco Spindler, this is his first time as a starter, so he doesn't have a ton of experience starting. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but I agree. Offensive line was shaky at times today, which. Of course, your quarterback's going to get hit, and there's a very solid chance he could lose the ball then. So not all of that was Hartman's fault, but yes, I do agree he was careless at times with the ball. But something I noticed, and you guys might think I'm crazy for this, but I like what we were doing on defense today. I loved it.
Yep.
I love that we were putting the pressure on. I love that, we didn't really get beat, but my only thing with the defense is, okay, you're great. You're getting the pressure. Now finish them off. We weren't doing. There were plenty of times we weren't doing a great job at finishing off the tackle or making the play or whatever. I mean, there was sometimes tackling was a problem too. But that was an issue that I saw is when you put the pressure on and you get great pressure, finish off the play.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. Also, on the defensive side, can we please recover a fumble for once?
Yeah.
Every time the ball's on the ground, we just can't get the ball, man. I'm just so sick of seeing we'll have a great sack. Botello will get a sack, a strip sack. Can't get the ball though. Come on, man, please.
It's just bad bounces, man. They happen.
Not like the Duke fumble or Clemson fumble, and Duke literally bounced into the Duke player's hands. The ball was just leaping up to him.
That one that Botello had, he fell right, or not Botello, it was Jean Baptiste. He fell right on top of the ball, and the ball squirted right from underneath his gut.
Yeah,
that's bad luck. Yeah. It's like, well, in that case, why does he just use his belly? Come on, ball, get in my belly. It happens.
I mean, overall,
tighten up the line. I think both lines need to be tightened up a little more. Obviously, we the big thing that bothered me a little bit in the beginning of the game was just play calling. It's like, okay, clearly the running game is not working right now. Can we not run right up the middle, please? Like,
Yeah.
come on now. Like,
Yeah.
bringing me shades of Tommy Reese and giving me PTSD. Like, let's not
Yeah.
do that. But
it kind of worried me a little bit because, like, Audrick's insane.
Mhm.
But for a majority of this game, NC State actually had Audrick pretty bottled up for the most part.
yeah,
I mean, besides the 80-yard run, I mean, before the 80-yard run, he had 4 carries for 3 yards
Yeah.
before that.
He was
Yeah.
not able to shake them. They were all over him like a hawk.
yeah. I think they were angry. I think it was one of those where it's like you've seen what he's been doing in the first 2 weeks. You've been hearing about it. People are saying they're going to run all over you. So I don't know. Like they just seemed like really, really fired up and really after Estime in the beginning, and then it wasn't as intense because of that delay and stuff, but they were still pretty hyped up. So
I mean, the run game for me, like, did it? I like that we, when Audrick wasn't getting it going yet, we put in Jadarian Price, and Price kind of brought a different, different twitch, different kind of speed to the running game. I like that. Yeah, I mean, it just worries me a little bit. I did see him. I don't know if you guys thought this too, but the first 3, maybe 4 drives of the game, or not the first 4, but the first 3 drives for Notre Dame, did it almost feel like you got, like, Freeman kind of played those safe, like very conservatively, backed up, inside your own 20 on all 3. Just kind of, we ran a lot of slow mesh runs up the middle. I mean,
I was wondering something similar to that because I was, watching the game. I was getting frustrated. Like, man, why aren't we getting the push? And what's going on with Estime? And where's the big runs where he falls forward and gets 10 yards? But I almost wonder if and I guess this really wouldn't be an uncommon thing, but I almost wonder if he wasn't trying to do some coaches will do a feel out process.
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. That's what I was thinking too.
At
least that's what I'm hoping. That's what I hope he was trying to do, man.
I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of. I mean, now, does NC State have a pretty good front 7? Yes.
Yes.
But it's like at the same time, you have our offensive line, despite the flaws, and a bruiser of a running back in Audrick Estime. How is he only getting 3 yards on 4 carries to start the game?
Yeah, I mean, good front 7s are going to do that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just we've seen that. I mean, you go back and watch one of the most dominant rushing teams in all of college football in the 2010 season when Oregon played Auburn in the national title. I mean, Auburn's line continuously got those ducks in the backfield. So, I mean, good front 7s are going to do stuff like that, and angry front 7s are definitely going to do something like that. And they loaded the box up. Let's not pretend like they didn't load the box. It wasn't like it was 3 guys rushing and they were getting Estime. There were 5, 6, 7 guys coming up to meet Estime. I mean,
well, NC State, they're the way they play their defense. They're a very aggressive defense from the point of attack. They blitz a lot. Like, if you go back and you watch the tape of this game, I can almost guarantee you that if you watch that game, every single defensive snap, NC State is bringing 7 or 8 guys rushing the passer.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I noticed the pressure for sure.
What does that tell you? Like, what does that tell you, though? Teams still don't respect Notre Dame's passing game. That's what that tells you. Now, we cooked NC State a lot of times in this game because of that reason. But I think that just tells you a lot of where a lot of teams are still in that. When you play Notre Dame, stack the box, stop the run, and you have a really good shot at winning. And for the most part of this game, until Notre Dame kind of broke it open, that formula was working for NC State. Now, there were a lot of drop passes. Tobias had a few. I believe Colsey had a big one that was dropped. Are you guys worried about that at all with the passing game?
Did we lose Will? Oh, we lost Will. Interesting.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Oops.
No, I mean it's one of those where we have a very young, inexperienced receiving core that has a lot of raw potential. So I feel like these games are the ones that are going to just pay dividends in the long run for a matchup like an Ohio State, Clemson, Southern Cal, where it's like, okay, I've been on the road. I've gone up against good corners. I've gone up against good defense. I know what to expect now. Let's get it rolling. So, no, I think, we were talking about it off screen. This was a game that needed – the way that this game went is what needed to happen for Notre Dame. If this was a blowout victory where it was like 56-0 or 45-0 or whatever, the lesson is not there compared to what we had today. And this game showed like what you have to do to win games against teams that can equal you in talent or step up and punch you in the mouth like NC State did.
Well, and it also shows that, hey, we're not immortal here. We can be beat. And if you don't want to be beat, then you got to fix these mistakes pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, looking ahead, it's what's crazy, and this is what I was thinking like after I got a few minutes to kind of just think after the game. The difference between this Notre Dame team this season and last year's Notre Dame team, and you could even argue maybe the last
few years,
5-7 Notre Dame teams.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame can finally afford. Now, it's not a good thing, because you don't want your team to come out playing like that. But Notre Dame, for the first time as a Notre Dame fan, I've been able to say Notre Dame confidently that Notre Dame can go play a really solid team on the road and not play their A+ game and still win the game comfortably. We have not been able to see that from a Notre Dame team in quite a while, where we can go play a good team and not play our A+ game and still win by 21-28.
Right.
Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, I do.
I think so, yeah.
This was apparent. The proof is in the pudding, we got off to a slow start and all that, but when Estimate has 134 yards and Stays has 115 yards and Hartman throws for almost 300, that's a pretty good game. That's a pretty good day at the office. So,
dude, we got to start giving Audric hot dogs at halftime all the time now.
That's what they were doing.
Dude, he has a couple hot dogs at halftime. He comes out with an 80-yard run.
Right.
Why don't we have hot dogs on the sideline, man?
He's like Sonic and the Chili Dogs.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't get that reference, then you're not old like we are.
Yeah, that was a great tone setter with that 80-yard run.
Well, I tell you what, if he tacks on 30 more yards and another touchdown, let's give him a pretzel and some cheese as well.
Right.
Well, you know what? He got himself because his I don't know if you guys know this, but his NIL deal that he has through I don't remember who it's from, but he gets paid extra money for every 100-yard game he gets. So not only they better be giving him all the hot dogs.
Right.
Or like I said, pretzel with cheese, or I don't know if they have ice cream there, but give them.
Well, step up from a hot dog will be bratwurst, so maybe a couple bratwursts after the game.
Well, whatever they did, it worked.
For sure. And then another thing I wanted to mention: what do you guys think of the penalties, like the refs in this game? I kind of my part out there. What do you guys think?
I hate to be that guy that
when you're on the road, you're not going to get it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's just I don't like to be that guy that blames things on the refs, but you just have to point out the truth. I mean, some of those calls were very weak, and what about the missed ones? Like where they'll call the stupid crap like the late hit on the quarterback when he barely touched him. all because he put his hand on his chest or the face mask or whatever. They'll call that stupid crap. But what about the blatant horse collar on Sam Hartman?
Yeah, drug him by his neck and they didn't call it.
Yeah. Where are they calling? Why are they not calling that? But they'll call all the stupid crap on us. Now, I'm not going to say that we didn't make some blatant penalties. Of course we did. But
we were offsides, like 3 or 4 times, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. But it's just it's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that irks me, and I don't know how it is for you guys, but something that really bothers me is like whoever Notre Dame's playing, whether it's Southern Cal, whether it's Clemson, whether it's Duke, NC State, Michigan State, the referees are always from that team's conference.
Yep.
And I feel like if you're playing Notre Dame, and since Notre Dame is independent, I feel like if you're playing a Pac-12 team, you should have Big Ten officials. Or if you're playing a Big 12 team, you should have SEC officials. Because that's what they do in bowl games. So there's no, like, favoritism. So there's no, like, this team's getting a little more, leeway. This team's not, certain calls are being called on one and not the other. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And, I mean, maybe that's just me being whiny, but I've noticed that for years with Notre Dame.
I mean, look at the disparity last year with the SC game against us. USC got away with like 30,000 holding calls that weren't called against us last year.
And it goes on everywhere. I mean, it's not just college. I mean, pro, high school. I mean, if you guys watched the Thursday night game with the Chiefs and the Lions, dude, the one Chiefs player was literally jumping off or false starting like every play, and they never called it. Like,
well, you know what? I don't know if you guys watched the Baylor game at all today. I know it was on during the same time. Baylor had a chance to win.
I saw that Utah won. That was it.
Baylor had there were 2 seconds left, and Baylor was at Utah's 25-yard line. Baylor had a wide open receiver. I'll send you guys the play. Baylor had a wide open receiver in the back of the end zone. Dude got drugged down by his horse collar. It was obvious pass interference. Like, that was the most blatant pass interference I've ever seen.
no call.
No call.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened from time to time, but like when you look at the disparity from that game against SC last year to the very next week when they play Utah and USC breaks the record for the most penalties by a team in a Pac-12 title game, and 14 of those were holding calls.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you definitely don't have any bias, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, what I always thought was stupid is why is there officials for every single conference? Why can't all the referees just be?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Like the NFL, like where it's just referees and like they make sure that I don't know. And that's not like I said, that's something that drives me crazy with Notre Dame because I'm not against Notre Dame or Notre Dame because I don't know. I just feel like there's a bias automatically. Like, if you have Big Ten officials officiating like a Michigan Notre Dame game, who are they going to be? I mean, the answer is obvious, that's just one of my gripes. But like they say, if you're a good team, you shouldn't be in a situation where a penalty wins or loses your game. So I don't maybe.
What did you guys make of the penalty on Ben Morrison for basically just he held on to a guy's jersey a little too long and talked trash to him and he got a flag for it? Like that I thought was kind of.
I thought that was soft, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It's weak. You got to let the boys play. And
now if he shoved him, that'd be a different story. But yeah, that was a weak call. Very weak.
I mean, what are you going to do when we play like Southern Cal and that's happening every play? Like, come on.
I mean, and personally, like because like I've watched a lot of interviews with Ben.
ACC refs doing that game, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I mean, Ben. It's weird because out of all of our corners, I feel like Ben Morrison would be the least amount to talk trash just because of his personality. If you've ever like heard him talk, heard him do interviews and stuff, he's not a very cocky guy, but. in my opinion, obviously, you don't think that receiver for NC State was probably jawing at him too,
Oh yeah,
which is why he said
Yeah.
he said his piece to him. I mean, if you're gonna flag me for saying a little curse word in another guy's face, I mean that's NFL type stuff. This is college football. We don't flag kids for saying curse words on the football field.
Yeah, it's like, come on, let's put on our big boy pants and realize this, we're not kids anymore. Everybody curses.
yeah. No, it's weak. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's just like, but like to say with what to answer your question, Ryan. If you play football, or if you have played football, there are guys on every team that talk. Like,
Yep.
and there are guys that no matter if you're the best on the field or if they're the best on the field, there are guys that just always have something to say. And I think, we don't hear it because obviously we're not at the field level, especially when we're watching from our living rooms. But I mean, there was probably some dude that was just constantly talking Morrison's ear off. And it's not good things. It's not like, hope you have a great game. It's, your sister's ugly and, on and on and on and on. I mean, like the worst of the worst, because that's how it goes. So eventually these dudes get fed up with it. I mean, and I think Morrison just finally was like, all right, enough's enough. I'm tired of hearing about all these things that you're telling me about. And he let him know. And then obviously the ref, being an ACC ref, was like, no, you can't do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a thing on Twitter where people were saying that it was because, like, it wasn't even because, like, I saw that, like, oh, it's because he was holding on to his jersey when he was, like, getting up, held on to it too long. It's like, I mean, okay. So, and then there were people saying, well, yeah, it was the right call because there are certain things you can't say by NCAA rule in a football. It's like, okay, really?
Oh, shut up with that.
Like, you act like we haven't heard worse on a football field.
Yeah.
Oh, I can only wonder the kind of stuff they're dropping.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to get back to the days where, like, Richard Sherman, like, when he'd say, don't ever put a sorry, receiver like Crabtree. Like, don't, like, that's what those guys say all the time. And it's so dumb that they can't talk trash anymore without getting flagged.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. I'll never understand it. I don't know.
So who do you think the defensive ball goes to? Like, we talked offense.
Maris Leofau, in my opinion.
Yes.
That guy was a hawk today.
Maris had a big game.
Yeah, five overall tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Or wait, did I get him? Yeah, 1 tackle for loss, and he was getting in there on every play.
Dude, the hits that he put on Leary, that one where Leary completed a great ball, but Marist let him know, like, hey man, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. And I can't remember, I think it was Marist, but the one where they did the double pass and Morrison dropped the pick. Whoever that was that hit that receiver, because that receiver got absolutely destroyed. That person deserves a game ball just for the hit, because that was one of the hardest, most beautiful hits I've seen in a Notre Dame game that wasn't called targeting in a long time. That was a beauty.
Well, you could hear the pop on it too. I mean, come on, the pop alone should be worth the game ball.
It just would have made it more sweeter if Ben could have caught that ball.
Yeah, but we can't always be so greedy either. I mean, just to step up.
And there's an interception on the next play. So
yeah. I mean, it's like I was telling that in my group chat, and my friends were like, dude, you just killed a man and put him in his coffin. You want an interception too? Like, come on.
It's like, man, how far do you want to ride the greed train there?
No, there was no shortage of some amazing plays today. I mean, Hartman Hartman continues to impress, and people have been saying, Hartman for Heisman and all that. But I think we should be talking about Estime for the Heisman. I mean, you look at what he's done through 3 weeks, and you look at his averages. That's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a 9.6.
He can win the
Very
if he
average.
cuts out,
Go
if
ahead,
he
Will.
cuts out the fumbles, he could definitely win the Doak for sure. If he cuts out the fumbles, I think he has a good chance.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Hey, knock on wood. Sam Hartman has still not thrown an interception.
nope. 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Man, has that ever happened? Has that ever happened where a quarterback has thrown all these touchdowns but not thrown one single pick?
Well, probably. I couldn't tell you the last time Notre Dame had a quarterback that went through 3 games without an INT.
Yeah, not Notre Dame. Yeah, for sure. I know, like, when Robert Griffin III had his Heisman year, the first 4 games, he had more touchdown passes than he had incompletions through the first 4 games of his season for the Heisman. So, like, I'd have to go back and look at stats. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Granted, we played Navy and we played Tennessee State. So, the fact that we didn't do anything against NC State is impressive. But Hartman did have one that was really close in this game. He looked down. Oh, who was he looking down?
Wasn't it
I mean, he was staring him straight down, and the defender had it. I mean, he had.
Was it Great House?
Maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it was Great House. But yeah, so he dodged a bullet on that one. But yeah, I mean, that's something that you improve upon and you keep working at. And yeah, I can't believe. Well, and let's just say 10 touchdowns. I mean, he's thrown 10 touchdowns through the first 3 games. Like, let me go pull up last year's schedule and look at what happened with us on that, because yeah, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and I think that we're headed in the right direction. And Ohio State and Clemson should be very, very nervous about what's coming their way.
Well, and all I know is I agree with you, but like I said, I'm going to take it one game at a time, and now it's all got to be centered on the Central Michigan Chippewas right now. Because
did they win today? I saw they were losing to New Hampshire.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay, well, Ben's on the computer. He's searching.
Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
Real
Sorry,
question.
I got my
I got
power
a
cut
quick.
out in my apartment complex.
Ooh,
You're good.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you guys. Is
42.
who's a better team, NC State or Miami, Florida?
That they're 50. Well, we don't know. Miami always gets hyped up, but then they're not good. So if
Miami's beating
better.
Because Miami's beating Texas A&M right now, and everybody's hyping up Miami right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't do that just yet. I mean, Miami, they've been down for quite a while, so you can't just go and hype them up just like that. It's no.
Yeah. They need
Yeah,
another big win.
I would say I don't know. It's pretty neck and neck in my opinion. That's really, gosh, that's close.
I don't know if you can really pick one of them right now. Honestly, I don't know if you can, because it's like, okay, so far NC State has shown that they have a great defense and they have a potential for an offense, but they struggled to get the win against UConn. Their defense kept them alive in that one. And then, yeah, today we had a kind of a back and forth and a struggle until later in the game when we went until the Irish pulled away. But Miami,
I mean, right now, obviously, you look at what they've done against their opponents and who they've played. Obviously, in my opinion, A&M is a better team than UConn.
Yeah.
And, I don't think A&M. Talent-wise, I don't know. I don't think A&M's better than Notre Dame.
I just think it's so dumb because me personally, I think Texas A&M and Miami are both vastly overrated this year, like they are every year.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them went 5-7 last year. Both of them lost to a Sun Belt team at home. and App State and Middle Tennessee State, both of who went 6-6 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even like good teams either. I don't understand the hype, but the reason I asked was because I was telling guys over at Week Zero that because we did our pick'ems and I said that I don't understand why A&M's ranked, and I thought that they were vastly overrated. And I think now that they're losing to Miami, I think that kind of proves my point. But yeah, they were just basically saying that NC State's not better than Miami, and so I was like, okay, I wanted to ask you guys.
I guess when you look at it, okay, Miami, they had a nice 38-3 win over Miami of Ohio. How ironic is that? Miami beating Miami.
Yeah, the battle of the Miamis.
Yep. And I guess with Miami, if they're hanging in with a team like Texas A&M, which despite what people might feel about Texas A&M, because they definitely showed they were overrated last year, I guess I'd have to say that the Hurricanes, they're kind of up in the air right now. That'd be my best.
No pun intended, right?
Oh, Jesus, Ben. Really?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, thankfully, November 4th, they play each other, so we'll kind of have an answer to that question. But, yeah, I think...
I'm just going based off of, like, last year, because, like, last year Miami's 5-7, NC State went, I think they were 8-5 or 9-4.
Yeah, I think NC State, like, program-wise right now is the better program. I think Miami is probably on a better track now than NC State, in my opinion, but who knows. Found it. So we had, through the first 3 games last year, 3 passing touchdowns.
Wow. What does that tell you?
And Hartman has 10. So there you go. And that was 2 different quarterbacks. Actually, one quarterback had 1 and the other quarterback had 2. So, yeah.
To sum it up, we have a quarterback this year.
Yeah. Just slightly, just a little bit.
And I'm not, and again, I whenever I say this, I try hard not to badmouth Pine or Buckner, but all I'm saying is they just weren't the answer.
Well, and it wasn't even just that. I mean, we had a very depleted receiving core last year too. I mean, the line was shaky. There was a lot of things that went against those quarterbacks, and it doesn't matter if you have Caleb Williams or Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence or whoever. If you got a depleted wide receiver core and a shaky O-line, you're not doing much. So that's just how it goes. But overall, this game was good. We have a lot to improve on, obviously, if we want to beat an Ohio State team. But I think that Central Michigan has to be the focus. We cannot sleepwalk in this upcoming game against Central Michigan because we will see what's been happening across college football this year, and that's an upset by a MAC team.
Well, so, and you guys know with these MAC teams, they let it all hang out when it comes to their offenses. I mean, there's a lot of air raid teams in that MAC conference. I mean, we've seen Toledo do it. We've seen Western Michigan do it a number of times. So you definitely can't sleep on these guys. And also, speaking of offense and going back to our receiving core for a second, first off, I got to give props to Tobias Merriweather. He did have 1 reception for 45 yards, and in my opinion, that's a step in the right direction. But I wish I could have seen more. But we played against a pretty good defense today.
Yeah, I mean the two youngsters didn't do much today. Merriweather and Greathouse didn't do a whole lot.
Well, and also
Greathouse scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he did have a touchdown.
His numbers aren't super sexy.
But something I want to ask you guys: does it concern you that Jaden Thomas didn't have a reception today?
Well, he had that one. That was a beautiful throw, by the way, by Hartman, but he just couldn't reel it in. I think that had more to do with because NC State has 2 elite level corners on the back end.
Yeah.
And their best overall corner was on Thomas the entire game. So I think that has to do with it. But yeah, I think it was just more to do with Notre Dame's got a really deep receiver core this year. We got a lot of guys that can contribute. Holden stays. If we're talking about guys that should get a look at for the ball, the game ball on the offensive side, Holden stays, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was something we all agreed on when we gave. When we gave out our game ball, Holden stays. It was unanimous.
Yeah, and I think Hartman. I'll give it to Hartman because I think Hartman's smart enough to go. Okay, Jaden Thomas has a blanket around him. I am not chancing an interception that'll swing the momentum right back into NC State's favor because Hartman was 1-2 coming in against NC State into this game, and I felt like he was a little rattled at times because he knew what NC State had done to him in the past. So I think you go with the guy that is getting open, and you go with the guy that the defense is giving you the shot at. And today it was Stays. We saw in Navy that not one tight end was targeted. So I think he goes and does and uses what the defense gives him, and if the defense gives him Stays, he throws to Stays, and if it gives him Great House, he goes to Great House, and if it gives him Merriweather, he goes to Merriweather. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's just being a good quarterback and a smart quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
but also, I wanted to ask you guys too.
I love how
Go ahead, Will.
I love how David Sherwood got into action too, and I'm sure Mitchell Evans had a catch as well. So we could definitely run some 2 tight ends, maybe against Ohio State as well.
Yeah, it makes my heart happy to see big men get the ball because it's a very underused art these days in the world of Marvin Harrison Juniors and all that, where they're the ones getting the ball thrown their way and stuff. So it's nice to see guys like that get the ball.
I like the comment that was made by Jackson Johnson. What I saw today versus NC State is a team that can most definitely take down the Ohio State.
Yep.
Got to make sure you put the "the" in there because Ohio State fans throw a fit if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Is it like? I think is it bad that I thought that watching NC State, I honestly thought they could probably give Ohio State a fit, like if they were to play.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, like defensively at least with how Ohio State's offense has struggled. I mean,
yeah. I think it also depends on where the game's played too.
Oh, if it's played in Columbus, probably not. But if it was at NC, like if you switch the opponents, I can't guarantee. I don't know if I could tell you that Ohio State would
pull it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Only time will tell. I mean, Ohio State's another one of those that I think they're just going to keep getting better and better each week. Ryan Day, for as much trouble as he gets sometimes, people forget that he's still right in the mix of things almost every year. So I won't take Ohio State lightly until we're up if we were up 50-0, then I'd start taking them lightly. But until then, we got to be shields up. So,
something I wanted to address real quick before I get back to the point that I wanted to make to you guys. So this Daddio guy said Central Michigan ain't it, fellas, LOL. And then easy 52-10 win. Well, Daddio, we're not saying that we're not shaking in our boots about Central Michigan. The only point that we're trying to make is
you can't sleepwalk into that game.
Notre Dame has a track record too.
Exactly.
Well,
that's all.
That's the one. That is the one knock. I think is like a genuine knock that people can have on Marcus Freeman as a head coach. Just so far, is his teams tend to sleepwalk into a lot of games. Now, that's on the coach, and that's they're not only on the coach, but that's also on the players. But that's also a culture thing. I mean, we saw what happened the first drive against Tennessee State, and then Marcus Freeman in his presser talked about how the team came into that game, overconfident, not taking the game seriously, and you can't do that.
Yeah,
you don't have, and the thing is, what have these guys, and Marcus Freeman even asked this, what have these guys done to afford the luxury of looking over teams because they're a small school or teams that they should be better than?
Right, exactly. We really don't have that right to be arrogant or cocky because until we start winning major bowl games and national championships, which we haven't done either for a while, then we got to stay humble. We got to prove, we got to prove ourselves.
I mean, you know how impressive it is that Kirby Smart is coming off of back-to-back titles and is still somehow able to sell his kids on the fact that they're underdogs and everybody doesn't think they're good.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very impressed by that. It's like, well, it's like I've said this before, and I'm sure it probably won't be the last time that I bring this up, but Magnum, who's for those of you who don't know, he is a big Georgia fan who is a good friend of mine, and we hear that him and I both hear this crap all the time. There were Georgia fans actually dogging, no pun intended, dogging Stetson Bennett, even after he helped lead them to the first national title. People were still crapping on him. And it's like, this guy just helped you win a national championship. Why are you still crapping on him? And I remember somebody told me once, oh, well, I think it's because people see that he had a great defense to back up the offense and a great receiving core and a running back core. Well, that's the idea of building a football team. What is Kirby not supposed to recruit weapons to give him?
But the fact that you've got 18 to 22-year-olds on this team, and they're like, man, we're coming off back-to-back champs. Like, why, we're, for instance, like, for example, they're playing UT Martin. Why we gotta, why can't we just go through the motions? It's UT Martin. We're back-to-back champs. Guess what? They don't play like that, though. Somehow Kirby is able to convince them that, well, you guys just won back-to-back championships. People don't think you can do it.
Yeah, there's still people that don't believe they're capable of winning. Just like people in our fan base that think we're not capable of winning. It's ridiculous. I mean, I
can't find one person that doesn't think Georgia is the best team in college football right now.
my view has always been, and it doesn't matter what you do the year after, I'm sorry, coming into the year after you win a national title. You are top dog until you get knocked off the top. Like you could have okay, and we've seen it before where a team wins the national championship, and then the next year they fall off because they lost a lot of guys or whatever, and they end up going 5-7, or whatever the case may be. Well, no, you're still the top dog until you get dethroned. Simple as that. And I don't know why that's so hard for people to concept, but I guess that's more of the quote realist mentality. But speaking of which, I wanted to bring this up to you guys. I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, but I went back to our receiving core not too long ago, and one of the biggest things that of me making my mistake of reading social media and stuff during the game is so many people in our fan base have been complaining about our receivers and tight ends not being able to get separation. Now, so far through 3 games, 2 of them being lesser opponents, one being our first big test today. Do you think that's a problem? And I guess it's just you and me, Will.
Well, I mean, if Holden States can keep making plays like that, and we can get more Tobias Merriweather catches and stuff like that, I don't think it matters. As long as we can lean on the run, and then it'll open up the pass. As long as we can get, as Sam Hartman can keep throwing dimes, I think we'll be fine.
But do you think it's been a problem? But do you think it's been a problem through these first 3 games? Our receivers having trouble getting separation. Like, do you think that's the case?
I mean, as long as they can run good routes and make the catches, I don't think it's a huge problem. I mean, it could be a problem, but as long as someone can get open, then it's okay. Even if it's not a huge amount of separation. Like, as long as we keep getting first downs and moving down the field, I won't be too worried.
I mean, so far they've stepped up and they've played well. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what happened to Ben and Ryan, but I know Ben had to go somewhere to pick up somebody, and I don't know, but yeah. So we are 3 games are in the books. We are 3-0. Very impressive win here today, despite the early struggles. But we rose to the occasion and got the job done against a really what was our first true test of the season, because NC State is on the level. And I thought,
just great to win on the road.
yeah, and despite NC State maybe not being the biggest when it comes to powerhouses, I mean their fans do come out and support. They make a lot of noise, and of course, well, the weather clearly is bad this time of year in Raleigh. Ironic,
Yep.
like I said to start the show, ironic that it was another downpour and more lightning this time around as well, like back in 2016.
Yeah, and it's just great to. I mean, it's great to extend that ACC regular season winning streak. I remember that started all the way back in 2017. So that started back when Mike Elko was at Notre Dame, and
yeah,
so great to keep that going.
But yet people would say we wouldn't stand a chance if we joined the ACC conference. Okay, all right, keep saying that. Keep all you people who are obsessed with conferences and us joining one and that same old song and dance we've been hearing for years. Just stop. It's getting old. But anyway, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. But before we go, make sure you guys give our new sponsor a look, ticketsmarter.com. Use these promo codes BIG and BIG20 for $10 or $20 off. And then, of course, we got the two new channels, Big 12 channel at the Voice of College Football, the SEC at the Voice of College Football. So make sure you guys go check that out. There's love to go around for everybody on this channel. But, of course, for those of you who are watching, make sure you hit that subscribe tab to our channel here at the Voice of College Football, Notre Dame, because every game this year, we will be here giving you guys some a post-game analysis and just having a fun time. And we just had a comment come up here. Better address it. They put Notre Dame on upset alert. I guess America is still upset. Go Irish. I like it. Michael. Thanks for the comment. So, with that said, Will, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Let's keep it going, and hopefully we can get off to a good start against Central Michigan. That's the one thing I wanted out of that game. No injuries and a fast start and a comfortable win.
The only thing that sucks about that game is it is a Peacock-only game, Peacock exclusive.
Yeah.
So, but thankfully I already have it because there's other stuff on there that I like, so it was worth keeping.
That's good.
But with that said, I am Sean Moriarty.
I am Will MD.
And for our colleagues, Ryan, Week Zero Productions for Vel, and Benjamin Wolters, we will catch you guys next week for the post game for the Central Michigan Chippewas. So until that, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Amen.